One sec, Max. There we go. Okay, I was worried about the countdown. We might not be live. We are live now, as I didn't want that to happen. That's my error there. But we are live, March 16th. Let's get into it, Max. We got no one in the back today with Big Show or anyone else, so it is just Max and I back here. Like we talked about it, Texas State under, dead under. Just the OT was the only thing that get that game from going under. And Missouri State didn't get it done. It sucked. Cleveland State did. Vandy got it done. I just didn't like Vandy at 5, but then it dropped too much. They took care of business. Belmont struggled against good teams all year long, and they did there. So for me, it was kind of a split night. I lost a little bit. I played a few things live, but wasn't that it was but not a bad loser, not a bad winner. How was your night, my guy?
Well, obviously Utah State was a no-show and Oregon had a crazy performance. Tip my hat to them. And I am punishing myself by wearing all the Oregon gear that I own. So it does suck. Life does suck sometimes, and that game was definitely painful. However, being able to be on both sides of the first half in the Belmont Vandy game definitely made me fucking happy. Obviously had Belmont first half, Vandy full game, but got Vandy on the first half money line a couple times at some very rich prices, and they were on Gus's book, so he had to pay out, and it was wonderful. And Connor, I'm happy. I had a very nice night. And I'm
I like
ready
to
to
hear
go
that.
at it again. I'm going at it again. I did some team total action. If we get the likes up, I'll definitely fucking throw some of my favorite ones out. If not, then yeah, we'll uh we'll talk about the games and
Get the
that's
hell
it.
out of here.
So like the fucking show. Yeah. Pretty much. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So shout out to the chat. We will get to them. Max, hit me up though, real quick before we hit Notre Dame Rutgers. Tell me a little about the line movement that's caught your eye in some of these games, whether it's the play-in, NIT, or the CBI we have going on tonight.
Yeah, so for Brian and Wagner, obviously we've seen a 3 or 3.5 point line move to the over from 152.5. It's definitely expected. However, we have seen Wright State and Brian both be able to D up at times. So very suspicious line movement to me. We've seen Wright State open up as a 2 point favorite, get as high as 4. Now they're back down to 2.5. So you just got some split action and play your line. Don't worry about the line that you missed in that game. Speaking of other playing games, we got the Battle of Rutgers and Notre Dame, and Rutgers open up as a 1 point favorite. They're now a 1 point underdog. The total open up at 131.5. It's up to 134.5 at its highest. And with Rutgers, their fourth quarter or their second half of the second half defense is probably in the top 5 of teams competing in this tournament. Let's see how it turns out there. Could be a first half over, full game under type deal. Now, going to the NIT, Connor, I definitely have to take note of the fact that this Toledo team at home has lost one game all season, and now they're going up against
Yeah.
a Dayton team that schematically has dominated them, sort of like VCU dominating Princeton. Toledo opened up as a 1 point favorite. They're as high as a 2 point favorite right now. The total opened up at 144, down to 142. So very split action when it comes to the side, and total not really making sense. Toledo with their first half defense at home, though, has been top notch. Towson and Wake Forest, we've seen a slight move towards the under. It opened up at 147, went as high as 148.5, down to as low as 146. So U-shaped line movement on that game as well. In the Virginia Mississippi State game, Connor, we've seen Mississippi State go from a 1.5 point underdog on the road to a 3 point underdog on the road, or 2.5. And we've seen the line go from 125 to as low as 121. So heavy movement
Yeah.
towards the under. Remember, last time Virginia was in a game, this happened, and it still went over in the second half. Nichols and SMU at Moody Arena. Nichols and SMU's total opened up at 149.5, got as high as 153, and has come all the way back down to 150. And the spread opened up at 16, is down to 14.5 at its lowest. Now, Northern Iowa and St. Louis go to battle, and St. Louis opened up as a 5-point favorite. They're down to right now what I'm seeing 3.5 at its lowest. So belief in Northern Iowa, the number 1 seed in the MVC, that isn't playing in the big tournament. Iona and Florida definitely want the total open up at 145.5, Connor. Now we're seeing it as low as 142.5. So belief that this Rick Pitino defense is going to come to play against this very physical and athletic Florida front and back court. Now, in the last game, a game that's going to be special to a lot of us in the chat, a lot of the pubbers in general, Long Beach State versus those BYU Mormons who only have sex on Sunday afternoons. Now, when Long Beach and BYU's total opened up, it was at 148.5. It got as high as 154, and now we've seen the buyback all the way back down to 151.5. So very interesting line movement there, Connor. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the basketball classic. I don't know what they want to call it. They keep on changing their names. But the one thing that stands out is Merrimack and UMBC. That game is off. There was personnel issues, travel issues, whatever you want to call it for UMBC. But those sons of bitches aren't giving us another game to watch Darnell Rogers. So I'm very disappointed. But we do have still 5 other games. Detroit, Florida Gulf Coast, a 150 total went up to 152, now coming back down to 150.5. Maryland Eastern Shore versus Coastal Carolina. And who would have thought that Maryland Eastern Shore would be in a postseason tournament at the beginning of the season? I sure as fuck didn't. Their total at Coastal Carolina opened up at 131. It is now as high as 135.5. Now, Southeast Louisiana versus South Alabama, a South Alabama team that has been heavily defensive in a lot of their games this season. A total opened up at 149, went as high as 152.5, and that's against Southeast Louisiana of the Southland Conference. Now, this is a game where I'm very surprised by the line move, and if you like one side, you like this line move. If you like the other side, you don't like it. Southern Utah and Kent State. No Tevion Jones. Southern Utah's total in this game went from 140.5 to 145. So tons of wiggle room and middling ground if you were early to the party. Now, the last game on the board is Morgan State and Youngstown State. In that game, we have seen a 3-point line move towards the over from 149.5 to 152.5.
Yeah, interesting. That Southern Utah game has caught my eye. It's not easy to go there and win, Max. And how motivated will Kent State be? I mean, not even in the NIT, this, the CBI basketball classic here. So let's get to the first game of the night, the play-in, Notre Dame, Rutgers. Talked about an interesting game here. You talked about the line movement that flipped to 1 now with Notre Dame. This total's 134.5. It's moved 3 points to the over. People are saying, yeah, there's some money on Rutgers. I get the tickets 57, the money 51, but the line has flipped to Notre Dame. You know how I am with Rutgers. They have played better on the road this year, a little bit lately. I think it's a good game. I think Notre Dame shoots the ball in the end a little bit better, and I trust them just a tad bit more. And I like this Rutgers team. Ron Harper Jr. is going to be big for them. He has to have a big night. What do you like here in this one, Notre Dame, Rutgers?
I think that with Notre Dame, what's going to be key for them is how they deal with plays after timeouts, how they deal with special team type of plays. And when you talk about an out of bounds play or after timeout play that you're able to draw up and run, this is something that Notre Dame's really been able to do because they have so many weapons that can come off screens. They have so many different guys that they can use in that rolling situation to the bucket that have good enough hands to receive and fucking put it in. And when you have Paul Atkinson and Blake Wesley, you do have two guys that can really fit into a lot of freaking scheduled plays. I think that's going to be important for Notre Dame. What's important for Notre Dame and what we've seen from them lately is just a propensity to get out, get their offense really flowing, get into their shooting rhythm. And they're going to need to do that versus a Rutgers team that we've seen numerous times get off to bad starts on the road and then have to make that comeback. So if Notre Dame is going to win this game, they are, in my opinion, going to go wire to wire, making first half full game a great play. However, when you look at the numbers and you look at the game logs of what Notre Dame has been putting out as far as scoring output, it does seem like a spot where if they're not scoring 32 or more points in the first half today, then they probably aren't winning.
Yeah. I talked about those last 5 or 6 games at the end of the year with Notre Dame seem like the Notre Dame team I know from the last few years, Max. More high scoring, a little less defense. That Virginia Tech game was 87-80, then going back to a few of that. Because earlier in the year, they could play some low scoring games, which was surprising to me. Let's get to the next one. Very good one here. This has dropped a lot of places to 2.5, Max. There's still a few threes. Bryant, Wright State, 2.5 3-point favorites. Totals moved all the way up to 155.5. To get to it real quick, interesting here on the total. Obviously, both these teams can score, especially Wright State. Bryant with Kiss can light it up. Interesting, real quick, just on the tickets, on the money, on the total, 65% is on the over, but the money is on the under here. Heavy money, 57% or more on the under, but the lines moved 3.5 points. I'm going to lift Noli Knowles here a little bit. I like the under, but these teams can't get hot shooting, Max. What do you think here, Bryant, Wright State?
Yeah, listen, I think that with Wright State, the question's going to be, how do they deal with the switching defenses that you're going to get from Bryant? Bryant's a team that can run out some zone at you. They can play you in the man-to-man. And Wright State has been one of the teams that, in my opinion, struggles with that most often versus other teams in this conference. Other teams in this tournament. Now, I think that when you look at how this playoff run went, this Horizon League tournament went for Wright State, this is exactly what you wanted. You wanted Tanner Holden and Grant Basile being the focal point of the offense, and you wanted someone else to emerge and provide that third scorer. And when you're talking about a guy that's been in the program, has had to work out his own turnover issues, Trey Calvin has really earned a lot of respect, especially over the last stretch of games. It's only been one game where he hasn't had a double-digit scoring output, and that's what he's going to need to do tonight. He is the X factor for Wright State. If they can keep him down, then with Bryant's offensive ability, with Adama Lita, my fellow Canadian, being a 47% three-point shooter, yeah, Peter Kiss is great, but we need Charles Pride. Charles Pride creates off offensive glass. He is a good rebounder in general. He is the Batman and Robin situation with Peter Kiss. And when both of them can put in 20 plus, that is when Bryant is very hard to beat. I think that when you look at Greg Calix and Hal Elias, these guys are going to have to play a big role on the glass and protecting the rim against all this rim penetration. So by the numbers, I do think that this game should have been closer to a pick'em. I don't like the move towards Wright State, but I got to say that Bryant as a dog here has some value if they can play defense.
Yeah, can they play defense? That's the key there. Let's give a shout out to the chat here, Max. Hit the like button if you haven't. I know most of you guys have. Ron Lofton, Paulie Walnuts, what's up, my guy? Nunya, AJ, Joey Collier, 1777, Memorabilia, T-Mac up in here. What up, T-Mac? Brad Somerset, good to see you up in the chat. Michael Anderson, Cash Action Bets, Bill McHugh, Sam Comer, dude, Rodney Barton. Shout out to all the guys up in here. Young Speedy, Nasty Nate. I'll see you next week, my guy in San Antonio. East Woodmore, Bill McDonald. What's up? Yeah, that total's dangerous. I just have a lean on it. I haven't played it on the Bryant game that we were just talking about. And there's some of our Jake rolling in the chat.
How
Shout
many
out to
likes
you
do we
guys.
have?
AJ, and we have 45 right now.
45
Tori,
in 19 minutes. All right. I'll say this. I do like Wright State team total under 79 if you can get it.
under 79. Wright State. All right. Look at that. Please this man with likes. He's giving you team totals all over the joint. And he's wearing his Oregon gear after taking a beat down from it on the best bet. Let's get to the next one, Max. This one is interesting to me. Dayton, Toledo. Obviously, teams aren't traveling far here for this game. Toledo's been unreal at home, struggled away from home scoring, especially of late, Max, the last few games of the year and then in the conference tournament. Can Dayton hold them down here? This total's dropped down to 142.5, and there's a few twos, but mostly 1.5. Toledo, can they get it done here at home?
Listen, it's going to be tough to score against this Dayton team, and it's not just because of the competitiveness and the energy that you get from multiple junkyard dogs in the front court. It's Kobe Bray and Kobe Elvis is on-ball defense on the perimeter that's really making a difference. When you have that kind of length, it really disrupts a lot that you're going to see that this group wants to do tonight. I think that with Toledo, it's so important for them to get off to a good start, especially at home. And with Ray J. Dennis sort of having some faltering right now, especially from the 3-point line, I am worried about that. I do like Raheem Raheem Moss's ability to defend on the freaking perimeter. He's going to be critical tonight. And if he can provide that double-digit 14, 15 points that we've seen him in these really nice Toledo wins, I do think that Toledo finds a way to get it done at home. But it is a suspicious spot because Dayton has controlled them. It does feel, like I said before, like a VCU Princeton situation. It's just with a team that only has one loss at home versus a team that power ranks pretty competitively against them, I just don't see the value in getting on Dayton at least early. I think Toledo first half is the play that I like the most, and then I'll reevaluate at halftime.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see Toledo. I mean, they've been money at home. I think they take care of business, but tough one here. Let's get to this one, Max. Let's see what's the motivation here. Towson, Wake Forest. Wake Forest is laying 8, few 8.5s. This total's about stayed the same. It's come down a little bit, 146, 146.5, 147. What do you like here? You think Towson can hang here with Wake Forest? Is Wake Forest going to be pissed? I mean, how motivated are they here? What do you like?
Yeah, I think that you got to really look yourself in the mirror and be like, do you want to win this game? Do you even give a fuck about this game if you're Wake Forest? Getting dissed like that, having the coach of the year, getting freaking Damari Monsanto back and starting to contribute in the positive was making Wake Forest even more dangerous and versatile. I think that going up against a competitive team that they're going to face in Towson, and that this is a Towson team that has been the prototypical underdog to back. I don't really need to think about backing them full game or first half. I think that with Wake Forest, they've shown us a real heavy-handed scoring output in second halves, upping that by 10.5 or 11 points over their last handful of games. That means that they're playing from behind and they're freaking figuring out what they can do at halftime to adjust. I think that gives value to Towson. I think Towson could be one of the teams that pull out the outright freaking victory tonight and freaking surprise all of us. Towson's physical. Towson has depth. And with their ability to freaking score the basketball, I don't think that they're going to have trouble getting into the 70s versus Wake Forest. So,
Yeah.
with Towson, scoring output's been up, Conor, and they go close to the bucket. They're not trying to hang out on the 3-point line. They're going into the hard spots to get their scoring, and I like that against this Wake Forest team.
I mean, Wake isn't a great defensive team. Towson is, and a weaker conference, I lean to the over a little bit in this one. Like you talked about, if they can get to 70, it's just a lean here in this one, but I think you can get over the total. All right, let's keep going. Mississippi State, Virginia. We talked about it. Open 1.5 max. There's threes. Now there's 2.5s a lot of places as well. Totals drop down to 121.5. There's a few 122s. What do you like here? I want to pull the trigger with Virginia. I think, they come back and play well. I've been thinking about this one all day. Man, they just shot it so bad in that first half versus North Carolina. You got to think they play better at home. And you know who shoots it just as bad as them? Mississippi State. So lean Virginia and even the under here. What do you like?
See, what I like about Mississippi State in this game is just the fact that they're playing at such a low total. They just need one or two guys to hit a couple threes. And I think in the SEC tournament, we saw Iverson Molinar kind of definitely struggle with his 3-point shot. But what they weren't struggling to do is still be very physical on both sides of the glass and turn those into trips to the free throw line. I think that that's what Mississippi State has to do: score with the clock stopped and be able to take advantage of how Virginia is going to be able to probably just throw it down to the baseline on the low block to Jaden Gardner on freaking 50% of their possessions. They have no 3-point shooting right now that I've seen in the last couple games, and I do worry about them being able to freaking keep this Mississippi State team down. I think that Virginia wins the game because I've learned from watching this Bulldog team that probably Ben Howland is on his way out, if not already gone. Question the motivation of if these guys want to play for him. And then also the fact that why is this line moving in favor of Virginia in that way? I think that this is a spot that Virginia wins the basketball game. I'm just not crazy about the 3 points.
Yeah, and now I'm a little at 2.5. I think they play better. They play their best basketball at home. I'm just saying. And if Virginia's just as bad shooting, so is Mississippi State. I think they're like 344 or something, or worse than that. 3-point shooting like 28% from three. Both these teams, it can be a struggle. Yeah, I'm thinking about it, this Virginia game. Let's keep rolling here. This one's interesting, Max, because I like the dog here in our next game, Nicholls State, but SMU's been so dominant at home. But they're laying 14.5, 15 here. This total's 150.5. What do you like here, Nicholls State, SMU?
Well, you got to keep in mind with this Nicholls team, obviously, through the conference season, we did see some freaking inefficiency and some freaking, I would say, less than ideal decision making on the court, especially by Ty Gordon with his 3-point shot selection. I think that that's a big thing that has to be corrected early on tonight. There are multiple guys that can give you outlier games for this Nicholls team, and I think that it's just so important for them to get off to a good scoring start early in the game. If they can get to that 35-point range, I do think that they're going to have this game close at halftime, if not maybe even leading. We've seen SMU, even at home at times, struggle in the first half to get off to good starts and then really have to ramp it up in the second half. I think that this is one of those situations. The one thing that I'm curious about is how Nicholls is going to avoid putting SMU on the free throw line. This is a team that is hitting a ton of free throws, close to 20 a game over the last handful. And I think that when you can score with the clock stopped at home where you're very comfortable playing, I do have concerns. There is not really, I would say the closest common opponent would be Baylor, and Baylor beat this team by 30. So I want Nicholls, Conor, but I could definitely see them still getting blown out.
I know. That's exactly how I feel. How motivated is SMU going to be? Could they pull away late and still win by over 20? I mean, I could see that as well. So tough one. Shout out to the chat. Hit the like button. Everyone in here. What's going on? Nunya, Cab, what's up? Damon, what's going down? Real Deal Prime, the Grinder, up in here. Doctor 24, MDR 24 up in here. Andrew G, Cash Action Bets, Ryan, shout out to Mario, Isaiah. Hit the like button. Give us the goddamn like. Let's get to this next one, Max. I have already took them here. It is Iona versus Florida. Florida 6.5-point favorites. The total's dropped. I like the under here a little bit at the original number. Now it's 142.5, basically everywhere. What do you like? There was 1-7 hanging around here on Bet Online. I don't know if it's still there. It was about 25 minutes ago. But what do you like? Iona, Florida.
Yeah, listen, with Iona, I'm very disappointed with them. They're healthy. They had no excuse to lose that tournament. They should be dancing when you have that experienced backcourt of Elijah Joyner and Tyson Jolly. Now, the big problem was Barrick Jean-Louis. Barrick Jean-Louis is a guy that can really freaking make a difference. He can really amp up your team, amp up the energy on the court with his dribble drive and his freaking dunking ability. And when you don't see that coming from him, or you don't see Coach Pitino allowing that to escape in him, that's a big problem. Now, losing a game the way that they did, I think that they get up for these types of games. We've seen it in the non-conference that they were a team that really get up for playing one of these Power 5 teams. And with the Gators, there's all kinds of question marks. They're obviously accepted this invitation to play in the tournament, but Mike White is coaching somewhere else. So I want to know what they're going to come out and throw up. Now, Conor, sorry. I think that when you look at this Iona game, it does resemble Oklahoma and Missouri State. It does. There's no way of freaking getting around it.
I know. It's true.
But do you think Iona can fucking pull out the fucking win? Nelly Jr. Joseph, can he be effective? I want to know what you think, Conor, on this.
I do. Florida's the better team. How motivated can they be here at home? But you're right. Iona has got to be disappointed. They should be in the big dance. But I saw them play a few teams earlier in the year well, even last year, and get up for these games. Is Florida going to be hyped up? With even just an interim coach, like we're going to just free flow and play, and we don't got, White's gone. I still wouldn't lay the 6.5. It'd be off. I didn't realize I took Iona early. I didn't realize. Seems like everyone likes Iona, so it kind of scares me here a little bit because I took it even last night. I was going to take this, so I'm already on it. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's get to this next one. Can this team hang here in Provo, Max? Long Beach State, they are 11.5-point dogs across the board. This total is up to 151.5. Total might be gotten a little bit too high, I think. BYU, we're not too much of an over team this year. What do you like here? Long Beach State, BYU.
Yeah, listen, this is a real easy spot and breakdown for me. I think that this is a Long Beach team that is being lined disrespectfully. I do think that 12 points is a good number. And I think that while we love freaking Joel Murray and we love Colin Slater, what they do on the perimeter, what Jordan Roberts is doing inside is what's going to make the difference tonight. I think that, yes, he does have some turnover issues, but if you look for Long Beach's most impressive games, he has standout performances in them. And I just have to go back in my memory, which is influenced by cannabis, to that UC Riverside game and how he played in that spot, keeping the turnovers down, fucking locking down on the low block, hitting those baseline jumpers. And I just think that this is a Long Beach team that if you could stop freaking Fosani Traore inside, who doesn't have a three-point shot, and Alex Barcelo, who hasn't really had a very good three-point shot for a couple games now, this is a good game for them to scare BYU. I can definitely see value with Long Beach State early on in this game. And if this game is close or Long Beach is winning halftime, there would be value on BYU as a second half team at home.
Yeah, it's just, where does that come out? Is Long Beach better early on, like you're talking about? Talk about a public dog. They're taking a ton of money. Line hasn't moved. BYU's just been strange to me, Max. Obviously, they're always better at home, but right now, how they are, I don't want to lay doubles with this BYU
Well,
team. How motivated can they be too? Right now. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that like when you look at Long Beach, the bad loss that they had was a 13-point loss to UC Santa Barbara on the road. And with BYU, they do have that 2-game stretch against Pepperdine and Loyola Marymount that they won by 20. So it is comparable from that standpoint that BYU could blow them out, but I'm playing with house money with Long Beach. I don't
Yeah,
know why I would freaking go any other way. My numbers are saying Long Beach. There's definitely a case to make for any side of any bet that you make, but
yeah,
I'm just not willing to pull the trigger on BYU.
yeah. I think it's too many. I think there's a shot here that Long Beach can keep it close. And how motivated is BYU? Maybe especially early. Maybe I'll split this. Maybe I will take it first half, max, because I've been looking at that all day long. All right, let's get to the basketball classic here. Let's get to Detroit, Florida Gulf Coast. Florida Gulf Coast, 2.5 point favorites. There's a few twos out there. I see it circa and bet online. Detroit's not at home, Max. I don't care for them on the road. Not all year I've been crazy about Florida Gulf Coast, but I think this number is short and they can take care of business. What do you think here, Detroit, Florida Gulf Coast?
Talk about a game where you have two game changers that literally will decide the fate of their teams. And that's what
Yeah,
makes it such a hard matchup to cap because you know it. Like, you know, by shot selection and by shot quality stats that Antoine Davis is going to take the boatload of key open shots for this freaking Detroit Mercy team. And with Florida Gulf Coast, they don't make free throws unless it's Tavion Dunmartin at the free throw line. They don't
yeah,
score within 10 seconds of the shot clock unless it's Tavion Dunmartin going coast to coast. He is the engine that runs that offense. And while I do love Kevin Samuel, I do love Caleb Cato and a lot of other guys on this team, I don't think that they have a goddamn shot unless Dunmartin produces the way that he has been. And if you need 27 points at home just to be competitive and win the game, that's problematic. So unless a guy like Austin Ritchie comes in or freaking Caleb Largy comes in and gives you freaking double-digit scoring, I'm worried about Florida Gulf Coast. But you said it. Detroit on the road, even with a Keck back, it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot. What I would probably do is I would take Detroit first half, then I would take Florida Gulf Coast on the additional spread so that at least I would fucking make a couple bucks on it if it's split or it went 1-1. That's what
yeah. We'll see. I think Florida Gulf Coast is just a better team at home. Detroit played better at the end of the year, even a little better on the road, but I haven't been able to trust them. We'll see today. This is probably the only day I'm messing around here with some of these games, Max. This is the last day before
I'm
tomorrow.
enjoying the last day of it. I've been
I
loving
know
it.
you
I'm
are.
just like, come on, give me some more.
You're going to be on them more. I know as it goes
I
on,
wish
but
that they had a tournament of the worst teams in college basketball. Like, give me a tournament of freaking.
you're first in line.
Yeah, give me the
To bet
worst.
it.
Give me the worst. I want them all.
All right. Maryland Eastern Shore, Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina 13. This total's one. It's gone up to 135.5. What's your look here?
Yeah, listen, common sense is telling me to take the under and fade this line movement, but I've already moved on it in a couple different ways towards the over. I think that Maryland Eastern Shore definitely should be able to score against this Coastal Carolina defense. The question is Coastal going to revert back to some of their lesser scoring outputs? And that's where I worry. I think that Maryland Eastern Shore has shown us all year that if you line them as a double-digit dog on the road, they are going to be able to be competitive. So I think that Maryland Eastern Shore has value as a first-half dog to gauge how the matchup is looking. But when you have Abreem Mustafa, Vince Cole, and Hamilton, Ontario's Rudy Williams, that is a dangerous trio of guys that can beat you. Then you have a freaking 6'5" point guard in Abreem Adiba I think he's from Sweden or Finland, one of those freaking places. And he is just an experienced, capable freaking guard that makes good decisions with the basketball. Common sense is telling me to take Maryland Eastern Shore as a dog here, but I could very easily see Coastal Carolina dominating at home like they did in the non-conference season.
Yeah, this is what I'm gonna stay off of here. Let's get to this one. I think this team is better, Max. 10 points better. Obviously, it's come down a little bit to 9, 8.5 at some spots. Southeast Louisiana versus South Alabama. Total's gone up too. South Alabama, for me, I use them as an under team in conference real well. Obviously, Louisiana wants to put the pressure more and score. What do you like in this one? This total, the side here, Southeast Louisiana, South Alabama.
What's the likes at?
We're at 74. We're almost getting there. Hit that like button for my guy, Max.
So I think that with South Alabama, Conor, they definitely have the pieces to really be competitive in this matchup. Charles Manning is a guy that can put up some big scoring outputs, and he's going to have to drop a 20 bird in this game for South Alabama to get over that team total of 82.5. I just think it's a big number, and when you go through the game logs, whether it be in non-conference over the last 10 games, you see a lot of South Alabama's games not ending up with them scoring 83 or more points. I think that this is a South Alabama team that's going to need Javon Franklin to be that freaking Batman and Robin situation. I think that when you look at Tyrell Jones coming off the bench, he's got to give you some more. And I think that that's the problem with South Alabama. That's why I like the team total under so much with them, is just I don't see who's going to give them that shot in the arm that they need, that wolf blood injection, that lady of the night fluid extraction. So for me, I think that South Alabama as a team total under full game is a good spot. If you want to take it first half, I think that you're getting good value on that line, because let's look at South Alabama's first 10-minute numbers, and they are in the bottom 50 when it comes to pace and tempo and scoring. So I'm good with that. Also, I think that, Conor, you're right on point with Southeast Louisiana. The question will be, can Gus Okafor snap out of his Southland Conference tournament slump and become that corner, that wing three-point shooter that they need? Jalen Hinton, Gus Okafor, Joe Kasparek, freaking Ryan Burkhardt. These are the guys that need to step up. And if you can get an outlier performance from the three-point line from Matthew Strange, it will be a strange time, but it'll be a good time.
Yeah, it might even need 40%, Max. But if they're near there, they cover this, like you said, from the three-point line. I think they can do it. I lean heavy to Southeast Louisiana. All right, let's get to this one, Max. Excellent game. How motivated will this team be? Kent State, who's just rolling everything that went on, and they get their ass whipped by Akron. They're 1.5-point favorites at Southern Utah. Not an easy place to play, Cedar City. I've been there multiple times. The Southern Utah team's pretty good there. This total moved crazy up, Max, from 140.5 to 145, basically everywhere. Kent State played really good defense. Man, tough spot here. I lean Southern Utah here. What do you like?
Yeah, no, I lean the other way. I lean with Kent State because, like I've said before, without Tevion Jones for this team, they just don't have that freaking slasher that can score a bucket when they need to. Now, I like John Knight and Dre Marin, but I do think Annan Moody coming off that 1-for-11 shooting game does hurt them. And what has hurt Southern Utah in general is getting off to a slow start scoring wise. This is a team that has shown the capability of scoring 40 plus in a 20-minute time period, and they got to be able to do that consistently against Kent State. Now, Kent State, with their run in the MAC tournament, we saw Malik Jacobs and Justin Hamilton be very effective, but most importantly, we saw Sincere Carey cool off from the 3-point line. We saw Kent State as a whole cool off from the 3-point line, and they're going to need that tonight versus this Southern Utah team that they can exploit from the 3-point line. Now, Southern Utah is going to have to do a better job of keeping Kent State off the free throw line, but if Kent State decides that they can run with Southern Utah and beat them, I do think that they will. And if they decide to clamp down, Southern Utah is going to need more than 29 points in the first half. Otherwise, it may be over early, in my opinion.
You know, it's not an easy place to play, but if they could bring that defense, Max, I think, you know, they could go in there and win. Just a tough travel after just such a shitty loss, you know, and then having to go there to, man, ugly spot. Tough game there.
Well,
shout out to my guy, Nuke Worker. Boom! $10 dono. Shout out to you, my man. We're going to have to do the dono train tomorrow since I'm not dono train approved, I guess. Or I just don't even know where it's at. That's a big show thing, but we'll hit it for you. Next show. He said he flew out of Tampa this morning. Finally back in the Great White North, depressing, setting and controlling with alcohol. Nice. Missed the show. Good luck tonight. Shout out to my guy, Nuke Worker. He's retired. He was in Florida. Now he's back home. But shout out to my guy, Oki, up in the chat. Jefferson C. MMA Locker Room Mills. What's up? Colton. Hit the like button. We're almost there, Max. We got 85 likes. 15 more. We got one game left. Hit the likes for this man. Or as he thinks, I'm going to get extremely pissed off. And I might turn green, as people have said.
I can tell. Look at him. He's smiling right now. But he's
you want me to start hulking up? I turn green. All right. Morgan State, Youngstown State. Thought this was pretty interesting because this Youngstown State team plays well at home, Max, but they can be inconsistent shooting the ball for me. And I don't know about 7 here. I like them. I think they win the game, but do they cover? This total's moved up to 152 and a half. What do you like? Morgan State, Youngstown State.
Yeah, listen, Conor, I've talked about how I like this Morgan State team when Malik Miller's in the lineup, when Malik Miller is performing. And Malik Miller's back in the lineup and he's performing. Now, I always wonder, and we could literally start a gambling game on Pub Sports Culture, on Pub Culture Radio, because we never know what the rotation of this team is going to be. It's like going to a whorehouse and wondering which one you're going to get to tonight. You know, they line them up when you walk in and then you decide. But looking at this team with how much depth that they have with Isaiah Burke, Keith McGee, Trevor Moore, Datorian Ware, just to name a couple, you know, I don't understand what the hierarchy of this team is. So I'm looking for Morgan State to find the right rotation and the right lineup to get this game tonight. Starting off with a good first half performance versus Youngstown State team is critical. They want to play slower games. They want to play lower scoring games. This is an opportunity to do so because Youngstown has struggled to get to that 74, 75 point plateau. And with their team total being at 78.5 tonight, you know, if Morgan State is going to have 20 minutes of effectiveness like we saw in the championship game against Norfolk, then they will keep them under this team total. They will stay within this spread. Just have to keep your eye on the game because we have seen Morgan State with turnovers fuck themselves in the ass when it comes to freaking covering numbers. So I like them first half. I like Youngstown's team total under if Morgan can get some defense going early on.
Great breakdown there, Max. Oof, tough one. I'm definitely staying off that one. And we got a canceled game. The Merrimack game has been canceled. And I was interested a little bit. I was
mad about that. I was mad.
Yeah. I thought that game could have stayed under, too. I wanted to talk to you about it. Shout out to the chat. Hit the like button. I am not bet that game. Max, have you bet the Notre Dame game? You're on them? I mean, that was my lean.
I'm on Notre Dame first half, full game, and I'm on their team total.
There you go. That's where I look too. Man, I like Rutgers. I just only at the rack. I just don't want them any. And they played a little bit better, and maybe they do tonight. If they hit shots, they're in it. They're just, you know, what's his name? I always butcher his name. The center's very good for the Rutgers.
For
Rutgers, Max. Yeah. So he could play a big key tonight. That total's moved up. Obviously, just not easy ones here. What we do have to say, Max, like we talked about on the show, um, whoever wins this game has got a real good shot. I think they beat Alabama, obviously,
Yes, I
in the next
agree.
one. Yeah, so even if either team pulls out this win, I think Alabama's got a bullseye on them. I mean, I could see them get out of that game, but there's no way they're getting my money. No way. What do you like, Max? Real quick, we'll answer a couple questions here from the chat before we end. What do you think about the total that's moved way up in the Kent State game from 140.5 to 144.5, 145? Do you think Kent State's defense?
Let's just pause it for 1 second. El Dorado with a $20 donation. Appreciate you, El Dorado, and appreciate your fucking donos.
Yeah, shout out to Dutch. Yeah, he's on an amazing roll. Man, when you're rolling like that, it feels so good. I've had a roll. I don't know if I hit 15 in the NBA straight, but I've hit 14 or so a few times, right around there. But shout out to him, freaking rolling right now. Check out the NBA Pub Hub right before us to all the guys there for sure. All right,
Yeah,
to the
Dutch
total.
is the man.
Shout out to El Dorado, man, for the dono. Fuck yeah, man. Hell yeah. Thank you. Go, Max. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
listen,
hulking
I think
out.
that
I'm hulking out.
it doesn't pay the bills in sports betting, in my opinion, to take the ass end of a line. I think that it's better off if you like the over to hit the first half over, and if not, just to fade the line movement. Let's remember that everybody with $20 in a goddamn sports account or anybody with a free bet can bet on this game, and that's something that you really got to take into consideration at this time of year. So I think that when you look at it, it has first half over potential now, but I would not be taking the over at 145 when it opened at 140.5.
Yeah, not the way, obviously, Southern Utah at home can score. I want to see if that defense against State, like I said, defense travels in any sport, Max. If they can lock down, that game could stay under now, moving 5 points. That way, that's a lot.
And
But
that's why first half scoring output for Southern Utah is so important. When you
mm,
have a 13-point difference between your first half and second half scoring output, you really have to take note of that.
yeah, definitely. Shout out to the chat. We're almost at a hundo. We're about to get out of here. Big Show is not here. I don't hit the commercials, but you know where to go. We're going to be there next week in San Antonio, Southtown 101. Best bar in San Antonio. Get there. See us there all weekend. We'll be there. Go to mybookie.ag at promo code PubSports. Use the Bitcoin. They'll match you. Put 1,000, they match you 1,000. Last, manscaped.com, promo code PubSports. Get the lawnmower 4.0. Get the whole kit and caboodle with it. As I used to say in the old reads, we save balls from Manscaped. Shout out to Manscaped for all the great shit they do for us. All right, Max, let's get to it. I think we're at a hundo. We're at 98. Give me a couple more. Damn, shout out El Dorado. Man, we got to hit multiple dono trains for you, my man. $20 dono. He says, Mr. Mills, I owe you a pick from fucking that up for you. My apologies. No worries. I'm sure Mills will be fine with it. But shout out to my guy, El Dorado Custodian. Thanks, my man, for the dono. Keeps us rolling here, Pub Sports Radio.
Man, I want to go to a strip club with El Dorado. I want to go to a strip club. I think that all the strippers would be liking him. Straight goods. I like
Man. Straights. Love it. All right, Max. We're going to get on out of here. What do you got today? What are you going to bet on? What's up?
Yeah, I'm gonna bet on a ton. That's just how I roll. But obviously, I have to choose one to fucking give out on this goddamn place. It's pissing me off because I want to give out a winner. All right. I'm going to go with Wright State team total under 79. If you can get 78.5, that would be my threshold number. I think that with Wright State, they do have the formula to be able to score. However, with a team that can excel with a switching defense, it can really handicap and handcuff Wright State at periods in this game. If Bryant is able to do that, then I do think that this game and this team total comes through. So Wright State full game team total under.
All right, full game team total under. As I talked about earlier, I am on Iona already. You know what I'm doing at max, and if I do, I won't be betting this team until next year because they will be dead to me, which is Virginia. I'm pulling the trigger. I've freaking stared at the screen all day. -2.5. They get the job done against Mississippi State back here at home with Bennett. They win. And that's it. You know, obviously, me and Max I'm probably going to be on Long Beach State. So I just don't know if I'm going to split that up. Maybe first half, maybe a money line. I'm going to play it, but we'll just give you the Virginia for the show. And also, I'm on Iona +6.5. Alrighty. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for Big Show not being here. We'll hit up all the dono trains we missed. Jay Peasy, he knows what's up. Go Beaches. Shout out to my guy, JPZ. Nasty Nate up in here. El Dorado. Shout out to you, my guy, with the donos. Nikolai, what's up?
Shout out to Slaughter wherever he is in the world. I hope that he's enjoying some barbecue, some Texas strippers, and I'm hoping that his glasses are foggy because of it.
True. I'll see him soon. Can't wait for the Texas strippers, but I live in Vegas, so I think we got some of the best. I mean, there's a few other cities that are good, but there he is. He's there. I'm here, baby. He's here. Shout out to Slaughter, guy.
Shout out to
Pub Sports Radio.
The Colonel.
Yeah, shout out for sure. All righty, guys, that's it. Now all we need to do is I always tell Max when we get off here, just win. Let's just win. just win. Shout out to everyone. Good luck tonight. We will see you tomorrow. And man, it is the big one tomorrow, Max. It is go time. Full steam ahead. I can't wait. I've been doing so much studying. It's crazy. I can't wait. So we will see you tomorrow. So see you. Shout out to the chat. Thanks for the donos, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. He's the great Maxwell Smart. I'm Conor Mack. We're out of here. We be coming. Peace. Kill the bookies.